I'm gonna be really upset if this is not in focus. I hope it's in focus. Hi guys, my name is Deandra Black, founder and CEO of Black Label Society, a skincare business where I handcraft body products and shower essentials. So from soaps to lotions and almost everything in between. Today, I'm really excited because, fun fact, I've recorded this video 3 times already. So this better be in focus. But I'm excited for this video today because I'm gonna be making a hybrid soap. I've never made a hybrid soap before. I've never made a rebatch soap before. And if you don't know what rebatch soap is, it's when you take a bunch of soap ends, shavings, clippings, and whatnot, bits and pieces, and you put it together and you make a new soap out of it. So today's soap is gonna be a hybrid. So it's gonna be partially a rebatch soap, and it's not melt and pour. It's going to be a special ingredient, raw African black soap. Like one part of the hybrid soap, and then the other part of the hybrid soap is just gonna be a cold process soap that I'm gonna be making. But this ingredient right here, this is her, okay? She's the star of the show. I am so excited to be making soap with this soap. So this is soap as is, and if you've never experienced just raw African black soap, I'm gonna need you to go find some, okay? Find some that looks something like this. I'll show you guys, like I'll put a picture or a video or something on the screen. The smell for me is just nostalgic. It smells divine and heavenly. So if you don't know, raw African black soap is made with locally sourced ingredients, commonly from West Africa, Ghana. So there's shea butter in here, palm oil, coconut oil, sustainable palm oil, coconut oil, cocoa pod husks, the ash from plantain skin. Oh, the fact that there's plantain skin in here, and just, you know me, like, oh, I don't know if you guys know, but Jamaican girl here, Jamaican descent. So plantain, anything plantain associated, the fact that plantain is in here. So there's a lot of amazing things that are in here. I also do want to say this, a lot of people do shy away from black soap. So my goal is to not completely remake like this new thing out of black soap. I do respect it for what it is. I just want to hype up the amazing things about it, and then address the things that, you know, could be the reason why some people don't want to use this or stay away from it. So what I also wanted to do was just sort of think through my thought process in what my expectations are for the soap, right? Like what do I want it to look like, smell like, lather, texture, the top, moisturization factor, cleanliness factor, all of those things. I kind of just want to talk through everything with you at the moment. So to start off with the first category, the smell. So I think I said this before, but I don't want to completely disassociate from what this is, meaning like I don't want to change the color, change the smell, really. Like I'm not trying to add fragrance oil in here or anything like that. I kind of want it to be as similar to its rustic form while having my own spin and touch on it, right? So the first thing is the smell. If you've never smelled African black soap, it smells like clean butter. Like there's sharp notes of cleanliness. Like I don't know what it is. And again, this is soap that's ready to go, and it just smells so good. So I want to add ingredients to this that don't smell horrible, right? Do you guys feel like some oils that smell kind of not that great, for example, hemp seed oil, do you feel like that carries over past saponification or whatever? Or just your end bar, does it smell if you use smelly oils? I find that sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So for this, I don't want to neutral smelling oils. I want it to be complementary fragrance is the point I'm trying to make here. So that would be like cocoa butter, because it already has cocoa butter in it, and unrefined, that chocolate cocoa butter smell that is just, yes, I want to add that in here. Honey, oh my God. I just made, okay, it's called honey, what did I call it? Honey frosted in oats. It's a soap. It's a turmeric and honey soap. I'm currently launching a turmeric collection of these handmade soaps, and I just made one with honey in it. It's unscented, meaning no additional fragrance, it's just naturally scented. And the honey fragrance is so divine. So I'm definitely gonna add some honey in here is my point. And back to the cocoa butter thing, they say like 10 to 15% of your total batch should be your hard butters. I also have to consider that partially, like a percentage of my total batch is gonna be this shaved down and added to my oil phase. All of these things I have to consider when it comes to the final soap. I'm so excited for this, guys. You have no idea. And then speaking of honey, Miss Honey. Guys, I saw Beyonce in Vegas. It was everything. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Speaking of honey, it just smells delicious. And then it also adds, the next thing I want to talk about is the lather. What I want the lather to look like. Normally, this soap has really tight, smaller bubbles, like it foams. I would say it foams more than it bubbles. I feel like that's a distinction, if you know what I mean. Like they're tighter and smaller, they can get bigger. And here's another thing too, like African black soap is made from naturally sourced ingredients. So no two soaps are really the same unless they came from the same batch. You know what I mean? I mean, it could be the same, but you could get different types and there's different colors and there's white African soap. I just want to upplay the lather. I want that foamy lather. Honey is definitely going to do that for me. Castor oil, we know, is going to do that for me. I feel like cocoa butter is going to like tame that down a little bit. So I might blend my butters a little bit. So speaking of lather and bubble size, another thing that I take real serious is the creaminess, the creamy factor. Have y'all ever used like a creamy, bubbly soap before? Oh my gosh. So for me, all of the soaps that I make and sell on blacklabelsociety.com, here we go, y'all can look at it. All of the soaps that I sell have a base of these milk powders and also clays. Those together, and also colloidal oats. All of that adds such a nice creaminess to the bar that it's just like a requirement for all of my bars. Unless you have an allergy, tell me and I'll make you one without it, girl, like, or guy. I'll just make you one without it. I love it so much. It's literally in all of the soaps that I make. It really makes a difference. Okay, I'm just looking at my notes if you see me looking down. I think you can see my iPad. I'm also screen playing on my, we have a guest. I'm screen playing right now on my Apple TV. So I could see you seeing me, seeing her in my shot right now. And she knows when I'm occupied, like she wants all the attention. Anyways, so I mentioned before that sometimes people would steer away from using this African black soap because it could be very stripping, especially if you have dry skin and especially in the wintertime, like right now. That's another really big reason why I wanted to make this soap, is to embrace it for what it is, but also making the experience great for even people with dry skin. So I'm gonna be adding in those ingredients, the humectant honey, the cocoa butter, the hard butters, the liquid oils at room temp, my additives to my lye solution. Like I'm gonna try to add some things that are really gonna play up the moisture factor. Because again, a percentage of my hybrid soap is gonna be this shaved down. So I wanna make sure you get, you feel clean and you also feel not so ashy and tight the second you step out the shower, you know? The last thing is the top and the texture. I'm saying I want a rustic bar. I feel like once I get to that stage where I dropped it in the mold and I'm like, I see that it's ready to be touched. That sounds weird. Does it sound weird? I'm talking about my top of my soap mold. But I'm just saying, I'm gonna wanna make a swirl. No, not a swirl, but I'm gonna wanna make a pattern at the top of the soap. I'm gonna try not to touch it at all. But it's really hard, it's like an itch you gotta scratch, like as a soaper, like you just gotta make something on your top. And it's so funny though, but if I really think about it, the first soap on my website that completely sold out was like a plain, flat top, like plain. I think I just had a rigid soap cutter, but it was just like a plain looking soap. And it actually was brown because of discoloration. It was an accident. And I was like, I love it. Let's call it brown bamboo and coconut. So that was that. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with like a plain rustic looking bar. I love African black soap for what it is. But I also want to put my own little twist and spin on it. So in terms of the texture, it would be fair to say, I think, that the gentle exfoliation of this by itself is like one of the things why people love it. So hopefully I don't completely blend out all of like the texture and integrity of this. I've also never done rebash before, so I've seen some people melt this down with water, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm doing it in my old face. But I think it'll be all right. So let me go make this soap. Thanks for listening to me rattle off about my expectations, because I'm gonna do this anyway. And like I said, I've recorded this video 3 times, so hopefully this is in focus. Okay, let's go soap. So I'm starting with my water-soluble ingredients for my lye phase. And I decided to freeze it because it just, you know, the lye gets really hot. So yes, this African black soap, I'm just shaving it down, and I'm gonna use the oil, so I don't mind going to a higher temperature to melt down my African black soap. And then after I see that it's melting down, I believe I add my hard butters, which is right here. And then I use the rest of my oil phase, the remaining oil phase that's not in the big bowl. I use that to melt down my milk powders and my clays. So I realized at this point that I did kind of blend out the texture that I wanted to hold on to, but I still see some cocoa pods, like husks, floating around. And then now I'm just measuring out my lye solution because my water is frozen. And always make sure to weigh your liquids just in case you don't get everything out the mold. Now I'm just adding in my honey and my sodium lactate, and here I'm adding in the lye. I do want to say that this took a lot longer than I expected to firm up, and I don't even know if it reached a trace. I'm sure it did, but it didn't actually trace. For a long time, it kind of just dissolved, but it is what it is. I'm just praying that this soap turns out amazing. But here I'm just flattening at the top, and this is like the most therapeutic part about making soap, is doing the top. And you remember when I said I wasn't gonna touch it? Look at me now. But it's beautiful, and I'm really proud. So I let it sit overnight until I felt like it was ready, and just look, it is already popping out this silicone mold. And when it came out so clean, oh my gosh. And just for efficiency, I have 3 soap cutters here. And look at the inside. This is not what I was expecting, but I'm very happy. I'm really interested to see how this color is going to change over time. To see the end result of this soap, definitely follow me on all pages at blacklabelsociety.com.